to have and push. And as predicted, I think we even said this in the actual podcast, right? Like the media cycle has passed by, and we're not hearing that hashtag. We've moved on to other things. I simultaneously wish the industry of the media wasn't as powerful as it was in dictating our focus, as I also wish there wasn't so many important and pressing competing needs to shift our focus. And so we have moved away from having a critical conversation, or a really more pointed and focused conversation around sexual harassment, sexual assault. But I liked coming back and starting there in that conversation. I think it really set an important tone for the entire season. But I also really like just coming back and doing this endeavor with you, Tomas. Like, I obviously appreciate our friendship, whatever. It's, you are right.
You I too.
You I. But I've enjoyed doing this with you. It's been fun to be able to do this podcast with you. This is something that you had told me to think about and give some consideration to probably over a year ago. And I kind of, eschewed the idea and didn't give much thought to it. And so I'm really glad that you encouraged me and was kind of relentless about continuing to bring it up so that we could actually do this thing. And I think there's been benefit for folks that are listening, but also for us. So I've enjoyed just having this. If nothing else, I know I'm going to have fun doing this podcast with you every week, and to be able to be reconnected to you in this way and engage in this endeavor. So that also stands out as a really highlight of the season for me too.
I thank you for that. And I feel the same way. And I enjoy sharing the time with you, but also learning and growing and feeling as though it's not just lip service when I say we need to really stand forth and represent. What other podcast do you have an openly gay black man and a cisgender black woman sitting down, having conversations, opinions similar but not the same, having debate, having conversation, just speaking about the issues? Like, I think that's really, really important. And the fact that you are a psychologist is so important, because we fail to understand a lot of times the mental health impact. And so you're always here with a theory for me to make fun of. And I know it's getting
like, wait, what? So basically what you're saying is that
you be too wordy. You know what I'm saying? You always be talking real intellectuals. And I have to be that. Do you remember Living Color? The qualifications of the duplicities and the principalities. I have to play that character, and I'm actually very good playing that character. Thank you very much.
Is that on your resume?
It is. It is on page 3 of my 17-page resume.
You're so silly. I want everybody to know that, how silly you are.
I think they do at this point.
Mm-hmm. All your business exposed. Whatever. So that was all good and all fun. Let's keep the conversation going about this as well, though. Because we have had other things like the March for Change that took place on Saturday, March 24th, in DC, but also all over the country. And so that brings me to another highlight of our season, and that was our hashtag Youth in Action conversation that we had. Such a somber and heavy conversation to be had that still needs to be ongoing. But I have been so impressed by these young people and the work that they're doing, and their valiance and relentlessness, and unflinching willingness to tell the truth about the real state of affairs of gun violence in this country. To be able, and I'm impressed by the majority white students from Parkland, and they're using their white privilege in a way that really show what being an ally looks like, for really being able to use privilege to leverage social change. for knowing when and how to step outside of the spotlight and give the mic over to young people of color, in specific young Black and Latinx communities of color that have been doing this work and fighting this fight for years in South Central LA, in Baltimore, in Chicago, in DC, who really authentically know what it's like to live in fear of gun violence on a regular basis. And so I just hope that their voices can continue to be elevated. I hope that we really do get comprehensive, human-centered gun reform in this country. It just has to happen. And all parts of myself, as a Black woman, as a social justice advocate, as a mother, all parts of myself is fully and completely behind this movement and behind young people. And again, I will say, if our platform here at Doopy Deeps, or if my station at the University of Houston in any way, shape, or form can be used to elevate or promote those efforts, please reach out to me at Dr. Nikki Knows. And let me know how I can help you and how I can support you, because this work is so important.
I just want to add, if you don't mind, that because you already know how I feel about this, so I can't get too into it because I don't want to get annoyed again. But I want parents listening to this to hear these words. Your children marched, and some of you marched with them, so some of you already get this. But your children marched on Saturday with one request. I want to go to school and feel safe. Mm-hmm. The people that we, as parents and adults, put in power respond and have been responding by saying, nope. And it's that simple. And I want everyone listening to hear that. I also want everyone listening to hear the following. Though you can talk about Second Amendment rights all you want to, there was a time in this country's history, and I don't know the exact date, so I'm not going to start quoting dates, but I believe it was in the mid-90s, when assault rifles were banned in this country, and there were no mass shootings. Mm-hmm. But the minute that ban was lifted, literally every other week. So I want you to think about that going forward. I want you to ask yourself, is my holding on to the ideal of a gun more important than the life of my child? Because see, the reason why this is a different conversation for me as a Black man is that when this amendment was enacted, I was 3/5 of a person. So I'm okay letting go of some old bull in order to step through to some new human civil rights, which protect children who do not have the right to vote. I also want to say this. If you are pro-life and not pro-gun legislation, you are a hypocrite. Because you cannot say protect the baby in the womb, but I don't know what to do if that stray bullet comes in a classroom.
I don't have anything to counter to any of those truth tellings that you're doing right now. But I also want to keep in mind that we want to talk about gun violence in our communities, and in poor communities of color. And you know, there's a whole undertone around capitalism and profiteering around guns that is in what you're saying that you haven't come out and said, and that same profiteering that comes around gun sales also shows up in poor communities of color, in which there is also high crime. So, you know,
well, there's money in the murder. There's money in the murder. There's money in the gun sales. There's money in the penal system, arresting the people that do the murders. Of course.
All of it. Right. All of it.
I mean, look at the privatization of jails in this country, which I think is, I can't.
Right.
It's going to lead us into a whole new podcast. Exactly. And we're not here for that today.
And that's season 3. Okay. Right. We're going to put that on the agenda for season 3.
Right.
And so I just want to make sure I add, like, kids want to go to school and feel safe, but also kids want to be able to be in their neighborhood. They want to be able to walk in their own neighborhood.
Well, that's the thing. They want to walk to school. They want to walk to the corner store. They want to get a bag of Skittles and an Arizona tea.
Oh, not that sugar tea. Not that Arizona. We don't want to promote that.
Oh no. I'm talking about Trayvon.
Oh, that's right. Oh my God. Mm-hmm. Yes. Oh my God. Mm-hmm. Skittles. That's exactly right. I'm sorry. Thank you for bringing me to that truth. Or to be able to play in their playground with their little sister. And not get shot in front of her.
Hello.
Tamir Rice. So, yeah, lots more work to be done. Lots more conversations to continue to have. I'm really hopeful that we have listeners out there for whom some of these dots that we connect are new ways of thinking and that make you uncomfortable enough to want to do some different things in how you see the world, how you talk to others in your communities, and what efforts you might be doing on your part as well. And then I couldn't say goodbye to this season without talking about our most recent episode with Dr. LaWanda Hill around sex positivity, and to be able to say that I fully enjoyed that conversation. That also was just one of the ones that I think was just a conversation starter. There's so much to be said.
I like it.
It made you uncomfortable.
I didn't like it. Talking about things. Personal, intimate things in the airwaves. I don't like it.
The sex.
It's unladylike. How dare you own your own sexuality? That's unladylike.
How dare I even talk about that on the airwaves? So,
in mixed company, as they say.
In mixed company, no less. In mixed company. Who do I think I am? I'm a free, sexually liberated, intellectual, cisgender Black woman is who I think I am. And so we want to continue that conversation. I'm really, really looking forward to so Tomas is only being partly facetious in what he says about he didn't like it. He really doesn't ever like to talk about sex with me. Like, he'll talk about it for like 30 seconds. And then he's
never played the Salt and Pepper song, Let's Talk About Sex. Never played it because I don't believe in it. I don't subscribe to that philosophy.
And it brings me a deep,
and you love to get me going, telling me
to make you uncomfortable
things that I don't need to know.
Just this morning before we launched, I was like, "Hey, have you ever heard of this thing?" And he was like, "What?"
I was like, "What is this? How dare you say this to me? You're ruining me."
So there are things that we cannot say that would be inappropriate to say during our regular Doopy Deep with Dr. Nikki podcast. So what we're going to do this summer is do Doopy Deep After Dark with Dr. Nikki. This summer. So I'm looking forward to launching that in June. They're going to be aired at night because there's rules, right, about things that we can say and can't say during the day.
Not on the internet. No, you can do whatever you want. You see these trolls?
I couldn't say cuss words, though. You said something like I couldn't.
No. I said because we're doing it live and people listen at work. Let's try to stay away from cursing.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
We're just doing this as a courtesy. But if you wanted to say all the 7 words banned, well, I think it's 5 now, banned by the FCC, you could. It's just if someone's lifting live at work,
Oh, yeah, that's not okay. Yeah. Okay, I get it. But
or
after dark,
in their car with their kids, the way you go to work and have your daughter in the car, that kind of thing. Yeah. Which, but do be definite after dark. Do not listen to that with your kids. Do not do that.
It will be not in SFW or in SFK.
And that show will also be marked when it gets podcast. It'll be marked as explicit, so you'll clearly know that that's not a show for mixed company.
I'm looking forward to it. I think so. One of the things that becomes increasingly obvious to me in my work is how poor sex education is in our country. So, and also there still needs to be way more conversation linking kind of the psychological schemas that we all have about ourselves as sexual beings with our sexual health and well-being. And so I want to talk about all of those things in the